So this is the Xtra Sphera 360 camera. And if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, you're probably wondering, like, what would I do with a 360 action camera? I swear all of the videos that you see, someone's jumping out of a plane, they're on the back of a motorcycle, they're riding down the side of a mountain. Things, and I don't do any of those things. And so when Xtra reached out and asked me, did I want to review the Sphera 360, I thought to myself, well, how could I use the 360 camera, right? Like me, I'm a content creator. I focus on tech, and then I also focus on camera gear, and I'm a basketball coach, a full-time dad, full-time professional. And so what would I do with a 360 camera? I don't ride down the side of mountains. I just don't jump out of planes. I don't do that on a regular day basis. And if you watch the average YouTube video, you think that's all you could do with this. But thank you to Xtra for sending this out. I've had this now for about a month, and it gave me enough time for me to form a real opinion based on what I actually do and how I would use this camera in my everyday life. And so I'm going to show you all the different ways that I've used this camera and why I think this may be one of the best values on the market. This thing is under $300 right now, and it's an 8K 50 360 camera. I'm testing out the Xtra Sphera 360. This is a 8K 360 camera. It has 4 internal microphones. It has the ability to have 10-bit log, and the 10-bit log has color as well, so you can do it with or without color. 4 internal microphones. It has internal storage. And it has Bluetooth where you can connect headphones. With the recent update, you can even connect DJI mics. There's a lot of cameras coming out. There's a brand new one that just came out from Insta360. That's $699. This is less than half of that, and this may be the exact same thing or better. So let's jump into it. As far as features, you'll never be able to cover all of them for any of these products in a single video. But I'm going to cover the major features that this has that are either the same or better than its major competitors. And those major competitors are the Insta360 X6 that was just released. The second one is going to be the DJI Osmo 360 camera. I'm also going to put the GoPro Max 2 in there because it is also an 8K 360 camera. And then you have this one. And this one is the smallest and lightest of the bunch. And that's either good or bad depending on your setup and kind of what you need and, you know, your personal preferences. But this is the smallest and the lightest. Some of the major features that this has. In 4K, or I guess in single lens mode, you have extreme video that will allow you to do 4K up to 120. You also have in regular video within single lens mode 5K 60. In panoramic video you have 8K 50, and then in photos, for single lens photos, you have up to 30 megapixels. In panoramic photos you have up to 120 megapixels for the photos there. Now, other major features for this is that you can connect headphones or Bluetooth earbuds. You can connect the DJI mic series directly to this, so that way you can use the audio from those directly with this, as well as the 4 built-in microphones. You've already heard those. Those sound really good. You have, you know, time lapses, hyperlapses. You have zing mode, which is basically a turn on and record immediately when you hit the record button. It uses more battery power, but that ensures that you won't miss a shot. You have a really fluid, as you see here, a really fluid user interface and touch screen that you use while operating the camera. It does take some getting used to, just like any other user interface, but I do think it's pretty, self-explanatory and really fast and easy to learn. And I feel pretty comfortable working it now. One of the major things about this that the others may not have is this 105 internal gigabytes of storage. So for the first 3 weeks that I used this, almost on an every other day basis, I was using it with internal storage only. I still have not put a micro SD card in here. And recently I had to export everything out. I finally filled it up, and then I was, starting over again. But 105 gigabytes of internal storage is really hard to beat. And I think that's one of the main deciding factors on top of everything else. And again, we're not even close to covering all of the features. So one of the cool things that if you're using this in single lens mode, meaning that you won't have to do all of the post editing. If you don't want to, you can kind of just export directly from the camera, or you can connect it to your cell phone, because your cell phone is going to basically be your remote control or your remote monitoring as well, because everything you're seeing right here on the camera, you're also seeing right now on the cell phone as well. Now you can do all the way up to 5K 30 using the single lens, and with that being said, you can then edit it directly on your cell phone in the Xtra app, and then you can export it directly to socials. You can even live stream directly from here using the single lens mode through your mobile application, or directly on the camera itself once you connect it to Wi-Fi and all of those good things. So it's really flexible and it's really versatile, and I love the fact that you have a lot of resolution that you can play with even when you're in single lens mode, and you can still record this in X-Log with the color recovery mode while still in single lens mode. So I think that's a really sweet feature. The first time that I used the software, it was kind of easy to use. It was easy to adjust and understand what was going on. Now, for the most part, the software user interface is very similar to most programs that you've seen with these type of products. Obviously there are some caveats because it's a 360 camera and you have the ability to touch and drag and move the camera around the way that you would like, etc. Typically, I'm gonna be honest, I use this with auto mode because the type of content that I create with this, I generally will just be behind the scenes and, different things like that. However, you do have the ability to adjust things like your ISO, your shutter speed, your resolution, all of those things manually from the phone as well. And you'll have complete control over the camera while doing that remotely on your cell phone there. Or I guess if you have this installed on like a tablet or something like that, there I am. You can do this that way as well. So overall, I think that this user interface to the software is, super easy to use. And I find that to be the case more often than not with these type of cameras, that the phone software, the mobile software, is really easy to use and sometimes preferable to the desktop software, as the desktop software is typically where you start doing the really heavy hitting when it comes to, these action cameras and or, similar products. So this is the software, and this is the footage that we just took, that you just saw, using the cell phone to control the Xtra 360. So I have one of the clips here of Ty, and this is a complete 360 clip, right? So you can adjust this however you would like and however you need. But there's some cool features in the software. You can do intelligent tracking, so I could basically, if I wanted to spin, I could select Ty, and then I could start the tracking, and then I could spin the camera and all that stuff and make sure that it stayed with Ty the whole time. So right here you can see there's color capture. The colors recaptured. Now I recorded this in log, and so this is what you were seeing on the camera. But I then have been able to capture or recapture the color, because Xlog, color recapture, all that. The LUT that comes with the software, you can adjust this, and I can make this look more moody and all of those particular things. And so now I have this moody footage that, even though it was recorded in log, it looks like this after I've edited. Now another nice thing about this is that if I were to go back to the beginning of this, you can edit this footage. You can add filters and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that because I did a manual, slight color grade there, but you can add camera movements. And so let's do a camera movement. What's a cool one? Let's start from Android. Yeah, let's do this. So let's add this. This is cool. You know, if you do decide to pick this up, play with the software, because it really will determine, you know, the type of story that you can tell, because it does have all the functionality that you need in order to do that. Okay, let's talk about the make and the body of this. I really love the way that this looks. I love the whole aesthetic. It's super clean, minimal, and simple, but there is grip or texture on the body of the camera so that it's not slippery. Think about this: when you're starting to sweat, that texture is going to really help when your fingers start to get slippery, to make sure you're not dropping the camera. Another thing that I like about this is that there is raised edges on the camera itself. So that way, when you are using this, again, same scenario, when your fingers are slippery and things like that, you're not having to actually touch the screen and slide around on the screen with nasty wet fingers to try to get it to start recording or go to the menu or whatever the case may be. I love the fact that those are raised edges right there. So on one side, you have the battery and the card reader. That's where you can put your expandable memory in there. And then on the other side, you have your USB-C port, which is for charging and or moving data back and forth between your PC or Mac or whatever you're connecting this to. I really like the fact that those are separate, because on some systems that I have, they're all in the same door. So you have the battery, the expandable memory, and the USB all in one space, which can be a pro or a con depending on what your setup is. But I like the fact that you don't have to open the battery port and the card readers or the card expansion slot every time you need to plug this in, because that allows for minimal connections and different cages and stuff like that. Whereas on some of my other things, you have to open the whole side, pull it out, et cetera, in order to just plug it in or change the battery or all of those different things. I like that they're on separate sides. There's also a 1/4 inch at the bottom, which is standard tripod. And then you also have this quick release that matches a lot of different accessories on the market, specifically the DJI products, if you will. Now, one thing that I really like about this is how fast this turns on. And so from a dead stop, that's how fast it turns on. And then you can hit the button for quick switching, but you can also hold it down again to power it off. And so I really love how fast this turns on and turns off. I think that is really big when it comes to an action camera and or just a circumstance where you want to get the footage as quick as possible without missing something. Say, for instance, you're surprised, you got to hurry and pull it out and hit the button and turn it on. I really love the fact that that can start up really fast. Wrapping the features section up, the Xtra360 camera does not have replaceable lenses like some of the competitors on the market. However, inside the box, they do ship with these replaceable lens protectors, which these go on the outside of the lens and they act as guards for the lens themselves. And so this will make it so that if you do damage those, you still can remove these and replace these easily. So this may be the best camera on the market, bar none, based on the price, value proposition, and the competition. I mean, for less than half of the price of the competitors, this offers the same features, and it's also very high quality. You get everything: 8K50, 4K 100, 10-bit log, 4 built-in microphones, internal storage, all of those things in a really nice, small, compact body that is lightweight and easy to carry. It makes it really hard to suggest something else on the market, unless it's going to be one of those user interface things. Now, obviously, if this is the first time you used a 360 camera, there is a learning curve to learn how to edit and manipulate 360 footage, but you have things like auto follow, intelligent auto tracking, and things like that to help you along the way. But you're going to deal with that no matter what 360 camera you buy. And the only other reason to pay more is if you're just used to a certain software suite and you want to stay in that software suite. People do it every single day, so I'm not knocking anybody that wants to do that. But if you're just talking about the hardware, this may be the best camera on the market. So let me know your thoughts. As always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.